I was actually about to tell Srini saying he doesn't have the privilege of standing between the session and lunch, right? So we do. And hopefully we'll keep it short and interesting. Please. This is, and we do a lot of work in the GCC space over the last many years. Um, a few years ago, when one of our clients was setting up a GCC here in India, there was a discussion saying what should we name it, right? Because I think a lot of it in terms of defining the identity of GCC starts from there. And one of the options that actually came up was also, should we call it a digital capability center instead of a GCC or a GBS? Obviously, the finance and the other process guys had a heart attack and overruled it, saying that no, you cannot name it only digital or technology. But if you see, I think technology has become core to everything that organizations are doing today, whether it's internal, external, customer facing. And a bulk of it, and we don't realize it, is actually sitting in India, in the GCC, where they are working directly as well as working with the ecosystem that exists today, right? Whether it's third-party service providers, whether it's startups, etc. So I think, as a percentage, I don't have an assessment saying how much of it would actually be core technology or digital, but today, at least in global terminology, when we work with clients, there are very few engagements that we do globally for our clients which don't touch their GCC, right? And that's the extent of presence that GCCs have in that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm mostly going to be asking questions against them who want to share their insights, and I've requested the panel to keep it as informative for this group as possible. But maybe I'll just start, and Anuj, given that you're right next to me, and all the panelists actually in the sequence, is just tell us a little more about yourself, your GCC, and also what kind of technology and digital transformation work are you driving from the GCC and in India, obviously, preferably, but yeah, overall GCC. So Anuj, you can start with it.
Thank you, Gaurav, and good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure being here. So my name is Anuj Jain. I'm heading the strategy and the transformation function for EXA Global Business Services. Gaurav mentioned about changing names. We just went through and changed our names just middle of the last year. So we are EXA Global Business Services. In India, we are on 4,000 plus people strong team, and talking about technology and data, I think that's been the focus for us. It's like 20% of our business right now, but we expect more than 70% of the growth from this segment in the next 3 to 4 years. That's the kind of trust we are looking at from digital and technology and operations. So, talking about what we do out of in this space, right? In technology, we have our delivery function, which we call as technology and security services, wherein we kind of offer the cyber security services, which is definitely important from an EXA point of view. Just to talk about EXA as a group before I kind of talk about EXA GBS potentially, so that we are on the same page. So EXA is quite a penetrated group. It has operations across 35 plus countries in the space of retail insurance, PNC, and the commercial. So it's a 100 billion plus group, and EXA GBS is one of the GCCs for the group. Right, but we are the largest. We serve across 30 plus entities across the globe, primarily in Europe. So coming back to technology and security services which we offer, so we have cyber security as a solution. We have application development and management as a solution, where we kind of look at across geographies, across clients. And there are a couple of niche capabilities we are looking to build up to scale up future growth. Right? What are those? Those are capabilities around application refactoring and decommissioning. Right? As we understand, we have operations across, we have working on multiple tools, applications, so we want to try to synchronize that, standardize it over a period of time, so there is a lot of technology we are expecting in that domain. So that's what we are doing. We are looking at digital transformation as another specific area, because potentially we'll talk in the next round about what are the technological interventions we are looking at from the group perspective to kind of run our business better globally. In the data space, Gaurav, again, that's another vertical which we are kind of creating, and that's something which we expect huge amount of growth to come in from. So we are looking at data, AI, and analytics as three core pillars of that vertical. Looking at in that data science, data engineering, data analytics, and whatnot, right? So there's a lot which is happening, and there's a lot we can expect to happen in the next coming 2 to 3 years.
I think that's quite a expansive scope in terms of what we're looking at from the centers. Kamal, if I can come to you, similar question, what all are you doing? A little bit about yourself and career technologies in India, and then specifically what kind of technology and digital transformation are you driving a part of?
Thank you, Gaurav, and good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Kamal Sharma, and I'm part of Career Corporation, which is about 100-year-old, I would say startup. We have been making sure that we become a part of the society and contribute to another cause. So the air conditioning is one of the areas which was invented by the Career Corporation. So since then the journey started and we ventured into refrigeration, fire and security. And with the latest acquisition what we had in Europe announcing Brisbane adding into our portfolio. So very interesting journey. Sometime back, about 5 years back, Carrier carved out of UTC, United Technology Corporation, and became a standalone company. And that's where I made an entry to Carrier. Started their first digital hub. Technically, I was the first employee in India. Now we are the largest hub and competence center for Carrier. I also lead Mexico and China hubs, which are again a part of a larger initiative which we call connected hubs. For us, the hubs has been a very interesting, organization within digital. The first thing what we did was, which was a little bit of futuristic in nature, we got the seat at the board in terms of the digital leadership. So that's where we moved fast. So we are directly involved in all the strategic decision making when it comes to digital. The second thing what we say is the hubs are like brain and heart for digital function right now. So we are not just executors. For us, that game has gone. We are now architects of the strategy what Carrier Digital is driving across the board. So be it COEs, be it shared services, or the product and platform side of story, we are active, influencers there. We made sure that there is a larger ecosystem which is getting involved there. So very interesting journey, and then innovation was another topic which we wanted to, in a 100-year complex distributed organization with so many business units, driving innovation was a very difficult job. But what we did was we owned the innovation. We said we will bring it, we will make it a cultural tool and we will roll it out. So that is also something we started from the hubs, and now we have made an entry to business units and different support functions. So that's pretty much about the role of the hubs in Carrier, and it is evolving every quarter by quarter as we become part of larger transformation journey and insights. So Carrier as an organization, definitely the kind of products we deliver are also in the retail side as well as the large business houses. So we are into B2C and B2B both, and we have distributed products. So over 100 product range we make, and in 70% we are either number one or number two in the market. So customer experience becomes a very, very important subject and topic for us. And that's where digital intervention is a very, very studied topic across the board. So from this perspective, we are driving a lot of products, digital products, development, design and delivery from India and India hubs. And when it comes to your creating the digital factory of the future and your all the traditional ERPs and then your CRMs and the world, that is what we are making sure that we are delivering, and we are making sure that experience quotient is on top of the charter what we have. Technology wise, I think we are everywhere. Starting from your cloud and then your IoT space, and then we are also into all sort of distributed tech, AI, ML, Gen AI, We are keeping our hands on each of these technologies and making sure that wherever we can take advantage of different technologies to create a better digital toolkit which will enhance the experience for our consumers. That is what our main focus from the hubs is.
Thanks, Kamal. In fact, I'm hoping like to talk about air conditioning being one of the biggest innovations. The next one is come out of the GCCs in India. Manjushree, I can come to you with the same question in terms of the role that your GCC is playing.
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be in this panel, and as Gaurav mentioned, I'm heavily conscious that we're between your lunch. So we'll strive to keep it interesting. As you've heard, my name is Manjushree and I head business strategy, planning and legal entity governance for State Street in India. I've been in the industry for over 2 decades, mostly in the large financial organizations. And interestingly, though I have a financial background, in the past life with 2 financial institutions, I've been heavily involved in their transformation journey for about a decade. So on that note, what does State Street do? State Street partners with financial institutions globally across the world to provide financial solutions in terms of managing services, assets, research, and therefore digital transformation is almost in the DNA and cannot be avoided. We're also one of the oldest financial institutions in the world, over 200 years. As a result of our history, this organization has seen tremendous transformation, which is why it is interesting how open we are at present to manage and driving change. I'll just take one quick example as we move into our conversation to share a product which is key to our transformation or digital transformation journey. State Street's Alpha is one of the products which is one of its kind, if I may say, because it's the first front-to-back asset servicing solution to our clients. So this is a single service solution and front-ended platform which helps our clients and financial service providers to access strategic solutions led by data and build better outcomes for their respective clients. With that, I'll open the forum to further questions.
I just want to remind my family this clock is set incorrectly, so don't look at that. But Anuj, I can come back to you. You talked about technology, you talked about the scale of operations. I mean, if you look at insurance as a business, right, technology is pervasive. From a policy administration perspective, to interacting with customers, to your core ERP systems and support systems that you need, right? Now, it's a very vast area of focus, and secondly, there's a lot of transition happens from older technology to new technology. So, any examples of how you're doing what you're doing in that space and how you're managing this larger set of technology and transformation from the GCC?
Sure, thank you. So, I think at Sub Group, we kind of came out with our next 3-year strategy, which we're calling as Unlock the Future. As part of that, what we are saying is we are not looking for large mergers and acquisitions. So, having said that, if you're operating out of the open market and you're not looking at mergers and acquisition, that means you're not really growing at a very fast pace. That means you're putting a lot of pressure on your bottom line. And so how you achieve that, and that's where one of the pillars of that strategy is around technological excellence and operational excellence. So that's going to be the core center of our strategy, which we're calling as Technology, Data and Operations Strategy, TDO as we call it. And within that, Gaurav very rightly said, we are looking at almost every aspect of our value chain in the entire journey, from customer acquisition to the service, as to what we need to do, right? So, just to give you examples as to some of the tools and technology intervention we are looking at building up a tool for digital platform for our commercial business. that's something which we are heavily investing in, given the influx of new set of services around cyber, around energy. We want to write. That's one thing. We are looking at tools for a more agile underwriting, right? Kind of updating our underwriting and the cat modeling models based on the new set of data. Given that the climate change is happening, there is a lot of impact on a sort of catastrophic model which we build, right, and the pricing which we do for our industry. So we are looking at that. From a customer point of view, we are looking at real-time pricing tools to kind of make sure that we are issuing policies through AIs and we are kind of becoming more efficient and kind of monitoring those. We are looking at how to plug kind of frauds using technologies like Gen AIs and AIs. And also, how do we kind of make the customer experience better from the claim management perspective, right? So this is the entire value chain from a customer. At the same time, for our operations, we are looking at procurement, ERP, and whatnot, HRIS, to say, okay, how do we kind of standardize, how do we kind of integrate each one of them? That's really important so that we have a single source of truth from the data point of view, and we can kind of bring out insights, basis which we can take the right decisions and develop right strategies.
Kamal, if I can just extend that, obviously I said technology progressive in insurance products and services, but for IPC products it's a step further where technology is going at embedded software in terms of interacting with the product itself, right? So specifically in the IoT, in the product engineering space, you talked about a lot of technology work that you're doing, but any specific examples of what kind of transformation you're looking at, especially in these areas of your technology?
Yeah, so see, when it comes to the product side of story, we have a big play and bet on disruptive sensor tech side of the story and technology. So we actively work with the emerging startups. We do, as we talk right now, we are delivering about 6 POCs from India with these startups, and out of 6, I think 3 has already gone into the next stage of implementation now. So which gives us advantage in terms of how do we disrupt and bring the technology at a faster pace in the organization. So it always need not to be, develop something is already in the market, bring it in-house, customize it, and deploy the product. That's one side. Second, the area where we are focusing, see, we have millions of customers, right? How do we connect them and bring them on the digital platforms so that we can give them a more proactive and more enhanced experience, which is more personalized in nature. So these are 2 areas where we are focusing big time from the tech stack perspective or technology startup perspective. And there will be definitely any new futuristic products which we are working upon. These 2 subjects and themes will be taken into consideration.
And interesting you talked about working with startups because I think that's been a mantra that we've seen is that not all capabilities need to be in-house, right? So we work with external ecosystems. So Manjushree, if I can just extend that because your operating model in India has evolved. I mean, your own centers and you work extensively with third parties and joint ventures and changes after that. How have you built and leveraged these capabilities internally and through these external stakeholders in terms of driving some digital transformation?
In fact, Gaurav, as you may know, our journey in India has been phenomenal. We've been here, and I often say that it's been a silent growth because our presence in India is almost 2 decades, right, about 20 years in partnership with 2 joint ventures, which we are in the process of integration at present, tremendously large in nature, and then our own presence in terms of services. And not to forget our advisory arm, which is also an independent entity. We're at present in 7 centers or 7 locations. Again, phenomenal given our global size and presence in India. Excuse me. I often dissuade using the word or the terminology GCCs, and you harped on it in the introductory remarks, because of the fact that most of the GCCs have evolved through these over 2 decades of journey, and we are our significant presence of our parent organization or the global presence in India, right? As such, in terms of State Street, I think it's been a phenomenal journey, keeping in mind our client-centric focus, right? It is just not about embedding transformation or technology enablement internally for the sake of our operating model and business, but primarily providing services as digital services to our clients. And India stands out above and beyond in terms of providing those services, incorporating industry best practices in the form of services that we can tap onto from technology partners, as well as building our own solutions, like I mentioned, Alpha being one of the very unique and the first of its kind solutions.
Sure, yeah. Just if I can extend that and stay with you, you talked about transformation, and I tell this to a lot of college graduates, students who are in college prepared to say that, the courses that you're doing today might not be relevant in the next 4 years or after 4 or 5 years, right? So it's a very evolving space when you talk about technology or digital. How are you looking at building those skill sets within the organization or tapping into them as you go down this journey?
Well, before I hop into what we do internally, as most of us know, India is the second largest fintech hub. So I think in the world, and we are growing tremendously. I think in terms of the financial institutions' presence in India, there are over 170 institutions and growing every other year tremendously. So from a skill set perspective, while we are also in the game of hiring the right skill set and retaining, because it is highly critical, we've also learned through the pandemic how essential it is to ensure that you're able to provide a sustainable model internally, which interests your junior pipeline. So I think our focus has been very heavy on building a strategic junior pipeline. And given the fact that a lot of dynamic solutions come from this Jain leaders, if I may call, right, and disruptive ideas. So I think as a result of this, we've been very, very focused in building diversity and diverse talents across levels in the organization, providing opportunities within the firm in order for talents to be capable to learning and accessing new edge technology or solutions, and as a result of this, providing larger opportunities. And given the fact that we are in the midst of consolidation and integration, it's highly essential that we involve our talents internally to drive this strategic change and not really partner with much of external solution partners. So that's been our, if I may call, a strategic model.
Probably just extending that, one is obviously the core skills that are required to deliver this technology, but there is another layer of management leadership required to actually identify those opportunities, convince the global stakeholders, and then drive the change management. So how are you specifically focusing on building that management layer, which is helping you drive this on top of the technology skills that Manjushree talked about?
So that's very important, right? And it's very critical for being in the driver, right? What I have observed in last few years, the GCC dynamic is changing. Today also I was hearing few of the panel members, speakers. So I'm hearing this word, largest center, we are the largest group, largest hub, including me, I just also told you about. So I think it's a clear-cut way that in India there is a value ecosystem, right? It's not about talent just, right? It's an entire chain which works together to deliver transformation. And that's what we are trying to capitalize. in this, definitely the management layer becomes very important because they have to become your evangelist to the different stakeholders across the globe. So, and COVID helped us a lot in terms of teaching us a true meaning of distributed workforce, which is global in nature and which is diverse. So from there we look at the pros, and then we move forward and we look at how we can give the business acumen to our leaders. Right? Knowing technology is a great deal, but also how do you apply technology to your business is another trait what we are very cautious while we are building up this talent pipeline, either through internal efforts or external efforts. The third one is keeping them always relevant, right? So at the pace which the digital technologies are introduced, so every year I have to prepare to make sure that I am using a new buzzword in my goals. So it is changing at that rapid pace. So I mean, how do you make sure that your leadership is relevant, is aware, learning those skills and applying that into your business processes? So these are the few initiatives what we take. And last but not least, culture. So you in GCC the culture is very important. The stability of the relations is very important. So you have to keep that tip also.
Interesting you talk about culture. Because I think to me that's the core of your connect with the global organization. Right? Anuj, specifically insurance again, data, cybersecurity, and I know there's a panel coming up on that later, is very, very important. And anything to do with when you touch technologies in India, you need to keep these aspects in mind. So how do you, and you said you have a large risk capability in India as well. How are you managing that? How are you ingraining it, making sure it's part of all the digital transformation you're driving?
Yeah, I think given insurance is a highly regulated industry, right, and those regulations kind of varies by different geographies where we kind of operate and offer our services in. That doesn't make our task any easier, to be very frank. So there are a lot of regulations, there's GDPR, which we are going to look at. So what we look at is why we are kind of transitioning to onshoring from onshore to India, the location. I think we set out defined guidelines, transition rules as to what data would be there, what kind of access right would be there, how we kind of be using that. And in some cases, the data still resides outside of India. It never kind of lands in India. We kind of make sure that we are working on different platforms, including virtual machines or the Citrix platform to kind of provide us access and so forth. Right. So there's a fine balance which we are trying to maintain to ensure that we are compliant from the information security and risk perspective, while we kind of continue to leverage the technology.
I've been reminded of time. We'll end with one quick one-line advice from you to all the people there, and we limit it to one line. For people who are starting their digital transformation journey or who struggle a little, what would be your one-line advice to them? What they should do and what or they should not do?
I think to us it's delivery that works. And that speaks for itself, right? So once you do it, then you kind of scale it up and do it for replicate it across geographies. But if you do it, just do it there.
I think the important is that future-proofing your talent so that you can scale and you can strategize faster.
Well, this is an evolving journey. So while we evoke success, don't punish failures, treat failures as lessons learned, because we've all realized in this journey when we reach at the tip of a mountain, it's the bottom of the other. So yes, I would say that's the evolution.
Okay, so plan for failure, welcome them, future-proof talent, and make sure there is quality in delivery. I think those are the three keywords that we try to take. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective.